Hey, what's up guys? My name's Jared. Welcome to my channel. Today we're going to talk about the Land Cruiser, the Nissan, and the Yamaha. Okay, so on the Land Cruiser, if you saw my most recent video, you would have seen me install the crankshaft and the camshaft into the block. I thought I was going to get a lot more done. Before that video came out, I thought I was going to have the pistons in, maybe the head back on, and pretty much be ready to put it back on the frame. But it took a really long time to put this crank in. And the cam. The cam gear took a while. But the crank, I'm pretty new to using some of these tools. And so I had to check the oil clearance on these bearings. And when I first put them on, there wasn't enough room. The bearing was tighter than this, so there was zero clearance. In fact, there was negative clearance because the bearing was too tight. So they had to be shimmed, which I did kind of realize there were shims when I took it apart. But I just didn't realize how long that was going to take. It took a very long time of trial and error to get the shims in there, and a lot of checking and double checking and rechecking, and this thing's super heavy to put it in and out. So I spent hours and hours just making sure that this was correct. So anyway, it ended up being a video that didn't get a lot done, but it took a lot of my time, so I wasn't able to get more done before that video came out. I wanted to have it out by Friday. So anyway, I got that in, so that part of the engine assembly was pretty slow, but hopefully it's going to pick up speed from there. I've already checked the clearance for these rod bearings, so that's good. I've still got to check all the clearances for the new rings and the pistons to make sure everything's correct. So it's just a lot of checking, very small tolerances at this point. But I am making progress, so I will have another video out soon, and I think I'll probably accomplish a lot more in that video. I'm assuming at least the pistons will be in, probably all the oil pump and everything, and the oil pan, maybe it'll be back on it. But basically, to put the pistons in, I want to have this engine on the engine stand, and the Nissan engine is still on that stand. I am a little bit concerned that this stand won't be able to really hold the weight of that engine. It says it's 1,500 pounds, so it definitely should hold it. But that Land Cruiser engine, that thing is heavy. Definitely twice as heavy as this for sure. And I just don't trust engine stands personally. But I'll probably put it on here, just the block, so I can at least put the pistons in it. Because it's a lot easier when you can rotate it to put the pistons in. Hey, look who it is, Walter. What's up, buddy? You come to say hi? What's up, Walter? Good timing, buddy. It's good to see you. Okay, so anyway, it'll be a lot easier to put the pistons in if I can use this engine stand for that engine. So also, I really need to get this thing back in the Nissan so that I can get that thing to move, and then I can put the Land Cruiser body over there and do a bunch of other stuff over there in that workspace. But so, on this engine, I just got to put that seal in there. I'm going to time it. I'm still waiting on this piece that connects the coolant hose, but I can put it in the truck even without that piece. So this is going to be the next thing that I work on. Now, if things go well, then hopefully I'll have a video out on the Nissan next week and the Land Cruiser. But if not, then there'll just be a video on the Nissan, because I've got to get this thing off the engine stand and I've got to get that truck to move. So that's next project for sure. But so that's the Nissan. The Yamaha, you guys may have seen last week, I bought this Yamaha 250 Enduro. It's a 1972, so it's the same year as the Land Cruiser. And my original idea was to do pretty much a full restoration. I stripped it all down. I was going to have the frame sandblasted and powder coated. I was going to have these fenders sandblasted and powder coated. But I was always going to leave the original orange paint because I really like it, and I even kind of like the defects. But after thinking about it and talking to a few people, I've decided I'm not going to do a full restoration. In fact, I'm going to keep it looking really old. So what I'm going to do, so this is the hardware. I ran the hardware through that tumbler that I bought. You may have seen that video. And then I put it in Evapor Rust, and it all came out really good. It still looks aged, but it's clean. And so basically, I'm just going to clean the entire bike and preserve it. I'm going to keep all the original paint. I'm going to let the original rust show through, but I'm going to clean it and in some cases treat it. So this is all evapor rust. And these parts have been sitting in here for days. And you can kind of see the difference here. Like this part hasn't been soaked in there, and this is kind of rust and grime. So all of that is gone, but the aged look is still there. I mean, there's still some pitting, there's still some rust. It's still very obviously old. Here's a Kickstarter. But even the, I'll show you in a minute, but even like the rubber parts in here just come out looking amazing once they're all cleaned up. But so basically, the plan now is to just clean the bike and preserve it as it is. You can see here, like this looked disgusting before I put it in there. This metal, whatever finishes on this, probably a zinc, this stuff comes out really good. This is what all the hardware is, but even this rubber on the foot peg looks really good. This headlight assembly, somebody scuffed it up there before I got it, but you can see areas where no one touched it. It came out really good. It went through the tumbler and then sat in evapor rust. So basically, I'm gonna keep basically every part that came on the bike, just clean it and put it back together, but I'm replacing all the rubber. So all of these grommets and seals, I've bought all brand new, original sizes and pretty much OEM parts when I could find them. But basically all 100% original and new rubber, and then of course new tires and tubes. And then you can see here I've got like a new set of cables for it. I've also ordered a gasket set for the engine. So I'm going to tear the bike completely apart, clean it, reseal everything, put all new rubber everywhere, and then put it back together. So it'll still look, it's aged, it'll show all of its original wear and tear, but it'll just be clean, and it should run and function like new. So anyway, that's the new plan on the Yamaha. And of course that was the Nissan and the Land Cruiser. I'll give you a quick update on the Honda as well. So I had the Honda parked outside for a little while I was working on the Jeep in here. It was under a cover, but it's been really hot lately, and I guess really humid. But so I'll show you what has developed. So the steering wheel that I redid, this front piece, I had to replace this whole piece. And rather than use little strips of wood that wrap around like they did from the factory, or use plywood, which is what new wheels are made out of, it's just layered wood, I used one solid piece of maple, and I just cut this ring out of that. And I'm starting to see why they don't make steering wheels that way. So here's what's happened. You can see here this outer, like this face here that I added to it, is moving, it's expanding and shrinking at a much different rate than the original wood. So the original wood is under here, this piece, and it only does it from side to side, not top to bottom. So it's moving with the grain. So let's see, the grain, I believe it runs in this direction on that huge piece of wood that I cut this out of. So it's basically shrinking in this direction, not this direction. So it's actually broken loose. I used epoxy to put it on, so it should have been a pretty tight seal. And then of course I coated it with a bunch of coats of like clear, but it wasn't enough to protect it and keep it from obviously moving. So I'm gonna have to kind of see how this goes and then maybe rethink this whole steering wheel thing that I did. It's still usable right now, so it's better than nothing, but I may have to look for a new one or come up with a different way to rebuild this one again. But that was a lot of work, so I really don't want to do that over again. But other than that, the Honda's doing good. I did place the final, I placed another order for parts for it, which will probably be the final order for a long time. But those parts include a lot of little things. I'm replacing all these little rubber seals that go around the shifter that are worn out. I bought some new seals for the engine because, like I've said before, at about 1,000 miles I'm going to pull the engine back out to replace a couple of seals, and then also to replace some seals on the transmission and to install the new throwout bearing that I have. So I got all those seals. There's like some stickers that go on here to make these centers black. I got some of those coming. Just a bunch of little things to kind of finish it up. But other than that, I'm just driving it and enjoying it. I will try to do the driving video soon. It's been really hot, so that's slowed me down as far as my progress here in the shop. But it's also made me not really want to drive a convertible. I mean, it's just with the sun beating down on you, it's not an enjoyable experience when there's no wind. Normally here where I live, close to the coastline, there's a nice cool breeze. So the majority of the year, it's really nice. But there are a few weeks out of every year where it's really hot, and this has been one of those. So we're kind of in that little small window of time throughout the year where it's just kind of brutally hot here. But so anyway, that's the Honda, that's the Nissan, the Yamaha, the Land Cruiser. So that's it for this week, guys. Thanks for watching, and if you haven't already, please consider subscribing. Thanks, bye.